Hello, this is Rebirth of Legend here, looking at another Antimage game. Alright, so this person wants to know what could he have done better. Quickly refer to the post. He stole versus a Veno Viper lane due to a sudden PA last pick, never fun. Nevertheless, transitioned to a mid game rather nicely, and had like an 18-minute battle fury. Just sounds pretty reasonable. So we're gonna take a look at this and see what you could have done better. The game does last 37 minutes, so odds are, you could have done something to win this game, particularly an 18-minute battle fury. Honestly, you're in the long haul. I wish I watched this a little better. I didn't see what you picked it into, but that's what it is. Huh. This is interesting. I guess they dual offlane or something. Looks to be where it's going. So this opening is kind of greedy. Like, you're gonna be in a real shit lane. Should start with more regen, generally speaking. Like, I wouldn't be looking at. Actually, I would think the Viper would be middle, but I wouldn't be surprised to have like a Veno Sky or something like that. But they could just put the Skywrath middle and then dual lane you like they ended up doing. I imagine that's what you're gonna end up seeing. Yeah. So if you're anticipating a lane where you're gonna struggle, come with like 8 tangos and a salve or something, just so you can get a lot from the lane. Lanes like this, what's really gonna matter is your ability to control creep aggro. Like, that's honestly the biggest thing, because you need to be able to pull creeps towards you. Like, why are you sitting over here? There's no reason to sit over here right now. Your job in this lane is to get experience. Why are you hiding behind a tree? They're not strong enough yet to where you need to be scared. This is horrible. Are you even in experience range? You're definitely not in experience range now. This is the worst thing I've ever seen. Sorry. That's a little harsh. It's definitely not the worst thing. That's really crappy. Like, your job. So let's think about this lane. Imagine if the IO came with you, or let's say you had a different support. It doesn't matter what the support is, and you're in a 2v2 lane, right? Like, let's pretend about that. How does it change this lane? It really doesn't, honestly. That lane is fucking cancer. It is impossible for you to last hit in that lane really well after like the first couple of levels, because they're just gonna destroy you. Like, you're gonna get harassed into oblivion. They can't kill you though. Like, keep that in mind. That's one of the strengths of Antimage. It is very, very hard for you to die. Like, exceptionally hard for you to die. Like, you should be level 2 right now. Or, sorry, you should probably level 3, I would think. It's very hard for you to die. This lane has 0 kill potential on you, unless you really screw up a blink. So your job in this lane is to get experience. Not having a support here is actually better, because let's say this IO came top, he wouldn't do anything. If I saw a lane like this, I would actually tell my support to leave. I'd say go bottom, go middle, do whatever you have to do. Leave me alone versus this lane. I'll be fine. At the end of the day, you're just not gonna die. And if they constantly push this to your tower, then you're winning. Like, that's amazing if they're pushing this here. So that's what we're gonna watch for. Like, honestly, I wouldn't call this lane bad if your creep wave sits here this whole time. It's only bad if they hold it. Like, can't free camera this. It's only bad if they hold it right here and they have like the Viper standing up here and like forward aggroing you out of it. So when I talk about aggroing, you have to know how to pull creeps towards you. We're gonna briefly talk about this because it seems like not much is gonna happen in this lane. You're still way too far back. Like, I guess you don't have a lot of tangos, but yeah. I mean, I guess you're an experienced range now, so that's good. Anyway, so when you're within 500 range of their creeps, which is about that far, which is about that range, you can attack a hero, and the creeps will aggro to you. If you're within 500 range of their creeps and you attack a hero anywhere on the map, which means you can attack their mid. Like, you force attack, click their mid, and you're within 500 range of these creeps, they'll go after you. Okay, you were so cautious there for so long, and then you literally just pissed it away for like one creep. Like, you were playing, I want to stress, you were playing really well here. Like, you weren't letting them harass you, the lane was pushed, and you were getting some experience, right? Which was really good. And then you threw it away. Like, these are the type of lanes I'm used to dealing with, and I actually win more games like this than with like a 3v2, honestly. Like, if I'm in like a tri lane versus a dual lane and my experience is getting limited, that hurts me more. You piece of shit. Oh, not friend of mine. Um, that hurts me more. Sorry. It hurts me more to have been a 3v2 and not get any experience than it does to be in like a 1v2 like this, even in a Cancer's lane, like a Viper or a Huskar. It hurts more against that than to be 3v2 and like not get any last hits and like have your experience limited than it does to just be in like a 1v2. Okay, you didn't need to go back to base here. This is also bad. Like I said, you need to be getting experience. They harassed you. Like what? That's what you have the tangos for. And even if they burn through all your tangos, you sit in experience range. You could send yourself more regen. You really screwed up there, honestly. Like you walked up to try and get one last hit or something, and don't feel panicked that the last hits will come with you just not dying and getting some farm. Like, that's all you really have to do. And like, see, now you have some space. Like this is perfect. But you could have been here this whole time. You could have flown yourself a salve or whatever. So this is perfect actually. Like you're getting a little space right now, and that's exactly what you need. Just a small amount for you to get like your ring of health and your treads. When you're in pressure situations like this, you don't you don't brown boots Battle Fury Rush. That is never good. It's always bad. But like in a situation like this in particular, you need to go like ring of health, treads, poor man shield, and you can jungle a little bit with just the ring of health and a poor man shield, just fine. So you do get the ring of health here. I imagine I'm just gonna see you go naked Battle Fury, which is gonna disappoint me. But it's a lot of people do it. It's something you don't realize is bad until you played AM quite a bit or you read a lot about it. I played like 350 AM games or something. You missed that creep you didn't need to. So now like here's a moment where you know like here's where you have to recover. You missed another creep there. This is where like you should be frustrated with yourself for missing these last hits because these are free last hits right now. Do not blink forward like that. Blinking forward like that is how you die. If you blinked forward right there and then this Veno came and galed you and the Viper walked out of that fog, you're dead. Because your blink's on such a long cooldown. When you're in a situation like this, you need to always have your blink up and be ready to blink away if you think you're in a situation where you can die. You can't be just using your blink for like the fuck of it. It'll lead you to dying all the time. And here in a situation like this, he's not really that scary, honestly. Like, let's say one more person was here, just go jungle. Like, go jungle this camp, who cares? You have a ring of health. Once AM has a ring of health and, like, a poor man shield, you can get away with jungling a little bit. And, like, once you have the treads, it's super easy. It's like, this is scary. Don't even go back to this lane. Right now, you just start jungling. And, like, yeah, you have this retarded Bloodseeker. Okay, you just probably killed yourself there. That was really stupid. Like, you know right now that... Motherfucker. Did I not just rewind? I wanted to rewind. Okay, so you... What did I just do? Okay. How far did I just skip? What the fuck just happened? Okay, I skipped a little bit. Okay, should be around here. Like, you know there's two people. You know there's a Viper, and you know that... So you see both of them on the minimap, and you blink on this dude. Like I said, like, you need to be careful with your blinks. And if you do a bad blink like that, you die. Like, that's just how simple I am, is you need to know your blinks. Like, I would even be cool if you just maxed your blink right now. Like, I would be totally fine with that. I wouldn't care. Because they have a lot of slows, so, like, one blink might not be enough to let you escape. I'm actually impressed. You do get the boots, but it looks like you go brown boots, Battle Fury, which, I think is wrong. You can farm... Cool, you got away with that. You can farm very fast with just, like, treads... treads Ring of Health in the jungle. And when you're under pressure, it's that much more important to be able to go into the jungle and farm it efficiently. And like the brown boots versus treads, like the treads are just so much better. Like I can't express enough. But it's good like you're doing the right skill build more or less. Like I said, I wouldn't be opposed to you maxing blink earlier here and then getting stats. But like getting stats and then blink is also fine. Like it's literally just like a preference and how you feel type of thing. Something you can do here is you can choke point jungle that, or you can attack the camp and then pull it back a little bit. I'll just show you what I mean, because nothing interesting is really happening. Like you attack the camp and you pull it to here. That way the creeps are walking back and forth as you're attacking them. It'll minimize some of the damage you take, particularly before you have like when you don't have a Battle Fury that matters. Once you have the Battle Fury, it doesn't. But so what I want to drive home, like really this game is, The game goes 37 minutes. Games like this are only bad if your team falls really far behind, which they're pretty far behind right now. They're only really bad if your team falls super far behind and they high ground you before you have like a manta. Like once AM has a manta, you can win a game. Like you just need to have one good target to mana void. Like what are you doing here? There's no reason for you to be here. So I think you're about to die here. But like you're an Antimage, you need to be farming right now. Hopefully you spend your money before you die here. If you, the thing is, even just one kill here, like let's say you get this kill and then you die, or you get this kill and you have to go back to base, it's like 300 gold, maybe like 350 or something. It's not a ton of gold. That's equivalent to like 1-2 creep waves. And if you were just top farming, you would have gotten like 2-3 creep waves, maybe even able to pressure that tower and farmed out like 2-3 camps. Like you would have gotten a ton of farm. Now, would your team have won this without you? I'm so confused to what I'm looking at. There's the Viper. Would your team have won this without you? Maybe. It looks like you actually... Oh! Okay, you walked back into that. I think you were probably dead anyway, but... You might have been able to live there. Okay, we get out there. Yeah, you were dead anyway. But yeah, so now you died too. But you did finish another part of your Battle Fury, so... Like, you could say you broke even on that, but kills aren't a guarantee. Like, all this free farm that's here is a guarantee. Like, you just hope your team can hold on and while you just split push. And, like, if they're fighting down here, or there's, like, a lot of posturing, what I mean by posturing is they're just sitting around waiting for a fight to start, what you need to do is keep pressure on this tower. Even if it means you're farming less efficiently, you're not using these camps, you put the screws to this tower and you sit here and you kill that tower. That way, even if your team loses the fight, you're taking a tower. And if the enemy team doesn't start the fight soon enough, then ouch. If the enemy team doesn't start a fight soon enough, that's so weird. Sorry, I keep getting distracted. Then they might choose to TP over to here. Like maybe they'll TP the Viper or the Juggernaut to stop you from pushing, which is exactly what you want. Like you want them to TP someone to deal with you, and you blink away and you just keep farming. Like if they TP someone here, you just blink back here, farm that, farm that, farm that, farm that, and you do that little jungle route, and you don't die. And then they just wasted their time. Like yeah, they'll come here, they'll farm out 1 creep wave, hell, maybe they'll farm out 2, maybe they'll even farm out 3, but you farmed out all this and then your whole woods. And then maybe you're back into middle, and you're doing the same thing in middle. And your job is to force people to respond to you. That's entirely what your position in the game is. Particularly in situations like that. So, like, you're gonna have an okay time Battle Fury now. This isn't too bad. You're actually really behind in experience somehow right now. But, like, honestly, at this point in the game... let's see. This guy's got a BKB. Yeah, they have the capacity to hold out, maybe. This guy's getting a fucking armlet. An idiot. I don't think you can get an armlet against heroes with dots. That's retarded. I don't even think it's good at all, but particularly in that scenario. So, like, they're diving right now. Like, one thing that is important, like, if you want to contribute in fights, like, have a TP. Like, let's look at this right now. Like, what could you do here? Looks like nothing yet. But like, keep in mind, there's no harm in having a TP right now. You walked over there, you could have bought a TP. Because, like, if you see that Skywrath ult someone, that dude's a huge mana void target. Like, it's a huge mana void. That's like a game-winning thing. Wow, he only got 1-1 silence. What a scrub. It's against an Antimage and an Invoker. You max your silence. You always go 4-1-4 on this hero. Whether you max your silence or you Q first, it just depends if there's someone you really need to silence. But yeah, I mean, so far, like, I think your build is good. I would have gotten a Poor Man's Shield. I think it's really important, particularly if you're struggling and you need to jungle early on. Either way, I think it's pretty good. And I think the treads were 100% essential before your Battle Fury. You would have farmed a little quicker. And besides that, like, I'd say only showing up to this fight was bad, and then you died up here, which wasn't necessary. Like, remember I said, like, one bad blink and that's what's gonna kill you? Like, that was a bad blink and it killed you. I think you missed a mana void there. Like, this is going really well. Get your treads over here. Treads. Buy treads. Report for no treads. I don't know why you didn't buy the treads. You were just sitting in the secret chat or side chat. This was stupid. You're super low HP here, and you didn't buy out your treads. You had 1050 gold. That was really silly. Okay, so right here, you're really fucking low. Like you're really low here. So like, why are you doing this? Like your team's already pushing this. They don't need you here. This you can already tell this is like a bad fight too. Like people are respawning. When you see people respawning and like pubs are gonna TP and they're always gonna want to fight. So you should try and tell your team to leave here. This is just really stupid. And you die here. Like this is another death that shouldn't have happened. So we have 3 deaths. 3 deaths, right? This is 2. It should be 3. Okay, now it updated. And I'd say neither of these 3 deaths should have happened. There was the one here where you fucked up a blink. The one near your tier 1. Like you blinked on a Veno who ulted you and then you just got killed by like a Skywrath on him. Just from the dot damage. There was the death down here and then another death over here. Like showing up to that fight got you an item, but I think you could have maybe avoided dying there. I didn't look at the fight in depth, but I'm sure there's a way you could have approached it without dying. Should be on agi treads right now. When you're pushing, you're on agi treads. Honestly, I'd still get a Vlad's this game. I just really like the Vlads for pushing. I know you're behind, and I'm sure there's many people who would disagree with this. What are you doing? This is stupid. Like, they're pushing here, your team just died. You need to be pushing this and making them... I don't know. I would not think this guy's alone right now. They have to be in Roshan then, right? Or not. Okay, whatever. Okay, so there's... I don't... Like, I'm watching this in fast motion, so maybe you saw something I didn't. Like, maybe they just took a fight and you knew everyone was low, so the Viper would have to be alone. But I wouldn't think there's a good reason to assume that that guy's alone right there. I don't think it's wrong to get the Manta here. I don't think anyone would say that. Like I said, once you get to the Manta, then any game is really winnable. Or, I should say 99% of your games are winnable if you can get to Manta. It's just a matter of you playing it well enough from that point going forward. These are some good... These are pretty good kills. This is good stuff. Like, at this point in the game, you should feel like you're in control of the game and, like, you can win the game. Like, I wouldn't feel like I'm really that far behind anymore. Like, you have your Battle Fur, you have your treads, you're halfway to your Manta, right? Like, you're in pretty good shape. Like, you have the tools to win a team fight right now. And, like, now it's just going to come down to if you screw up. Like, at this point in the game, once you have that Manta complete, if you die one more time, like, it's completely on you. There's, like, no way they can kill you at this point in the game. At this point in the game, you kind of have to be, like, careful where you are, but once you have the Manta, there's no way they should be able to kill you at all. So, here, you don't blink forward. Okay, cool, it's gonna be free tower. Okay, you don't blink into that. That is horrible. If you blink into that and the Skywrath was there and silenced you, I don't think they showed for that fight yet. Let's back up and see. I don't think we knew they were there when we blinked. I don't think you know. I think that you see them right as you blink, and you don't know that. So, but right now, like, you know that fight's going, your team lost that fight, you need to split push here. So you're doing the right thing. You don't leave here. You don't leave here. Please don't leave here. Okay, cool. But yeah, like, that blink could have that's like another blink. Like, you could just walk to that tower. Why did you even blink forward? You need your blink to escape, and if you blink in, then you can't blink out, right? Like, that makes enough sense. It's pretty simple. It's a pretty simple concept, right? If you blink in, then you can't blink out for that 5 seconds that it's on cooldown. So it's really silly to, that's annoying. It's really silly to... Good blink out. So it's really silly to blink into situations you can't blink out. Like, that's one of those things that when you realize it, like, it sounds so obvious when I say it, right? Like, if you blink in, you can't blink out. It sounds so obvious, but, like, people don't play like they understand that. And it's such a big deal. Because, like, that's how you died to that Veno, right? You blinked in and you couldn't blink out. Like, yeah, it's more dramatic because you just died to creeps. That's hilarious. Or no, you died to Veno dot. Never mind. Like that's how you died up there. and that's could be another way you died. Like, just because you didn't get punished for something doesn't mean it wasn't bad, if that makes sense. Like, there's gonna be plenty of bad things you do you don't get punished for, right? And that doesn't make them any less bad just because you don't die for it. Something a little efficiency. You should buy a TP and put your TP. Oh, you already have one. I'm blind as hell. I'm used to having an extra item slot there, so it looked like you were not using a slot. Okay, you sold your stout shield too. That is really stupid. So you don't have the Vlads, so just jungling camps and shit's gonna cost you HP until you have like a heart, right? So you need the Vlads to mitigate that, or otherwise you're always gonna just be losing HP. Alta. Nice. So that's pretty good. You're about to fuck up though. Okay, one thing. This is a huge pet peeve of mine. If that's hilarious. If you're going for a BKB, there's no reason to level spell shield. Like, if you have a BKB, it's giving you 100% spell resistance, so why are you not getting more levels and stats instead of your spell shield? There's no point in doing it at all. So like right now, you can just survive in fights. You'll probably do a lot. You could go for the heart. I would probably do it because you don't have a Vlad's. If I had the Vlad's, which I have almost every single game, then a good follow-up would be like the Abyssal. Because if you have the Abyssal, like, you can split push lanes super hard, and if anyone respawns, they die. Like, you can kill anyone with your Abyssal combo. Like, if you blink Abyssal, Manta, and go on someone, they're fucking dead. But like, the Vlad's opens up all those other routes. Like, if you have a Vlad's, you can go Heart, you can go Abyssal, you can go Butterfly if you want. But like, when you don't have the Vlad's, it really tends to make you want to go. That was a really poor use of your Manta. When you don't have the Vlad's, it kind of makes it so you have to go Heart because you don't have any sustain. Like, you'll slowly lose your HP when pushing because you don't have a Heart, and you don't have any other form of sustain. This is good. Like, this is a good hold, but like, this BKB purchase is just worthless. Like, in here, look, this is what I was complaining about. You have your spell shield max now. You died there. Why'd you die there? Your blink was up, wasn't it? Nope. Why were you just wandering around there, like, waiting for his ult to end? That was silly. You could have tried running away. You might have been able to live there if you just walked away. Like, you popped a Manta, and he was killing your Manta illusions. That's another thing. Like, he has a Deso, too, so if you had a Vlad's, it would mitigate his armor down. It's, what, 7 armor down from a Deso, right? Yeah, 7 armor down. You get plus 5 armor, so it's only minus 2. And, like, everyone else on your team would get the Vlad's aura, too, so it'll help a lot. It also mitigates his ult damage, because it's all physical. There's Nether Toxin's physical, too. See, physical. So it'll help you against that damage, too. Like, see, that's like another death that should never, like, you should never be dying at this point in the game. That's what I want to stress. Like, you now have the completed Manta. You're not allowed to die. Like, this is your time to win the game. And, like, everything after this point, like, you losing the game after this point is your failure. Because you just threw away your momentum, like, really hard. Like, you haven't been splitting enough. You've been trying to take too many fights, trying to go for too many pickoffs. And, like, you missed a lot of opportunities to rat harder. Like, this death down here after you had your Battle Fury and you didn't buy your treads, that was probably... I'd say that's probably the worst death, honestly. The 3 deaths leading up to that, or the 2 deaths leading up to that, and that death were all really bad and put you farther behind. Like, just imagine, like, this game seems, like, pretty close right now, right? So, if you didn't die those 3 times, you'd win, right? Because you would have had a 16-minute Battle Fury instead of an 18-minute Battle Fury. You would have had, Is that Bloopa guy just going to end the game right now? And no one's going to do anything? So you'd have a 16-minute Battle Fury instead of an 18-minute Battle Fury. And 16 is totally reasonable. And even 18 is not terrible in your given situation. It's just that your team also lost, which made it seem worse. But, I think, like, this game should end soon, right? Okay, well, we're just going to do a quick recap since there's not much more to look at here. I mean, we know basically what's going to happen. Alright, so you need, first things first, one, when you're against these difficult lanes, I need free camera for this, when you're against a difficult lane like that, like, you did the right thing after the first minute and a half. Like, you stood over here in the first minute and a half, and the creep wave was here. You missed out on all the experience. All you had to do was stand here. Like, that's all you had to do was stand here, and you'd get the experience for that shit. And I don't even think they were denying, right? 3 denies, 4 denies. They have 7 combined denies in this whole game. So they didn't really deny the creep wave at all. And all you had to do was stand in experience range and get all the experience you could get. Honestly, you being 1v2 is preferable to you being in a 2v2 there. Because a 2v2 just means someone steals your experience and someone probably dies. And AM's not going to die to this lane unless you fuck up. And you fucked up. Second thing, your item build was kind of bad. I had no problem with the skill build, like I said. You could have maxed Blink earlier, but the stats was kind of important. I think you needed stats over a spell shield too. Actually, I don't know. The BKB was just bad. Anyway, so an earlier poor man shield will let you jungle this camp. Like, if you're in a situation where you can't farm here, but honestly, like, you had like a fair amount of time where you could have farmed here, like, pretty well. Like, they weren't. This Viper wasn't literally sitting in top lane nonstop, right? I don't want this in X2. So you had like a plenty of time where you could have farmed, and if you were really efficient during that time, you probably could have gotten like a 16-minute Battle Fury treads, I would think would be pretty reasonable. You also want Brown Boots Battle Fury, which, like I said, like when you're in, particularly when you're in like a contested situation, the treads help because it lets you jungle efficiently. Like, oh, there's 2 people sitting in my lane, I'll go jungle this camp. Are they still there? Okay, I'll go jungle this camp. Okay, the creep wave's almost at my tower. I'll blink back and then I'll farm the lane. And then, oh, now the creep waves or the creep camps have respawned. Cool, I'll go back and do that. Like, that's what you have to have in your mind. Like, never wasting time, never standing still, always doing something to ensure you're being efficient with your time. There's no hero that's more true on than an anti-mage. You need to be using every blink efficiently. Every single thing you do has to be efficient. I hope he gets that. All he had to do was turn on overcharge. Son of a bitch. And now he dies. That's pretty funny. I did not see that before. Worth the rewind for that. So, like, personally, I think you fucked yourself in the lane phase. Like, in this, like, I honestly probably would have had like a 14-minute. I mean, it's not fair. Like I said, like, I played 300 games of Antimage. Like, I know these situations like the back of my hand. Like, a lane like this where these people are misplaying the lane horribly, I love that. I honestly think I probably would have left laning phase with like a fair amount of creeps. I don't mean that to like, oh, look at me, I'm so good. I don't mean it to come off like that. I'm sorry if it does. It's just like when you understand how to control creep equilibrium and you understand what your goal is to get out of a lane, it kind of takes the pressure off of you, and you kind of know what you have to do. Like, particularly when people are misplaying it so badly, like they just fed you so much experience, and they didn't try and zone you out, and they couldn't kill you, right? But like, just due to your misplays, you lost your objectives in the lane. Like, I think this is a pretty important concept to grasp. Your objectives in a lane can change, like depending from game to game, from minute to minute, from situation to situation. And what I mean by that is, like, if you're an anti-mage versus these two, you just need to get experience, right? But like, let's say we move the IO up here, and you're in a 2v2, now you need to get farm. You can't just get experience, you have to get farm, because now there's someone who's sapping your experience, and you're dedicating 2 heroes to this lane now, so you need to get more out of it, right? So it changes what your objectives are. And for them, if they're in a 2v1 against you, they need to kill you, they need to deny all your creep waves, they need to keep you out of experience range, because they can't kill you, right? Or they need to kill you, or they need to figure out a way to kill you, right? Maybe with like a Skywrath rotation or something. Like, that's what they have to do. They have to figure out a way to kill you, deny your experience, and do all that. But if the IO is there, then they just have to out farm you and maybe try and kill the IO, right? They have such an easier time because, like, keep in mind, like, think how that onus changes. Like, by making that a 2v1 versus a 2v2, when it's a 2v1, they have to like prevent you from getting experience, which is so hard for them to do because they have to control the lane. And both of them have dots. If they ever use an ability, odds are the creep wave will push in their favor. They have no way to actually kill you because they don't have stuns. So the onus is on them to make stuff happen in this lane, and it's on you just to not let them do that, which is so easy because you can blink away. When you and the like, let's say you and the IO are here, the onus is on you because you have to get creeps, and they just have to be there to annoy the shit out of you while you're trying to creep, because now you need to get creeps to justify having two people in that lane. And understanding that is going to let you understand how you need to approach a lane and what you need to do to win that lane, because then it changes your win conditions, right? So if you understand that, like, it helps you out so much in the laning phase because it changes what you actually like need to do. And understanding what you need to do is like the key to actually winning a lane, right? Because if you don't know what to do, then you're just walking around with your head checked off. Like, you're probably thinking like, fuck, I don't have a battle fury. Fuck, I have no farm. Oh my god, I'm losing my mind. No, dude, you're fine. Your job's not to get super amounts of farm in this lane. Your job's not to die and get experience. And then when they eventually leave your lane, right, then you get free farm. They left your lane, you got farm. That's eventually what's going to happen. And then in between that, you just jungle camps. Like, it shouldn't be hard for you to get 25, 40 creeps. Or I'll say like 25, 35 creeps just from jungling this. Even if you can't hit a lane creep for 10 minutes, you can get 35 creeps just from killing this camp, right? Killing this camp and maybe blinking over to like this camp or something. Possibly even this one. But like, you can do that. You can do that super easily. And then now your team is in a 4v3, right? Because you have 4 heroes that are against their 3 heroes in these other lanes because you're dealing with a 1v2. And like, yeah, you're going to have games where your team loses 4v3 anyway because they're shit. But that happens. And if you're good enough, like in this game, your team lost a 4v3, and you still have the ability to win this game if you played better. And that's what you have to think about. Like, if you played better, could you have won this game? The answer is a resounding yes. The BKB was definitely a mistake. Some of the fighting was a mistake, and some of the deaths were a mistake. Like, I have games like this. I'm like, oh, I took the 1v2 and I took the 1v2 and I didn't die, and my team lost all the other lanes. Boo hoo hoo. And then I can watch the replay and I'll see like, oh, I missed like 10 free creeps in lane, 20 free creeps in lane, just from like not last hitting properly. And it's like, oh, that's on me. That's the difference. That can be the difference between having your battle fury like 2 minutes earlier, because it's a snowball effect. Like, if you miss like 10 creeps early on, like 5 creeps in 2 minutes or something, yeah, that means you maybe don't get your ring of health early. Maybe you have to send another set of tangos now. Like, it's a snowball effect. But it's kind of turned into a bit of a rant. So let's kind of go back to things you specifically did wrong. You chose to go to this fight when you got your battle fury. Like, once you get your battle fury, you need to be recovering and just farming like crazy. Fucking Christ. I'm pausing it. You need to be farming like crazy. You got your battle fury and then showed up to a fight. You don't do that. Your battle fury is exclusively a farming item. Yeah, it gives you some damage and it gives you some regen, but like, the damage is just to kill creeps with, honestly. You're not really able to fight too well until you have the manta. Like, you can fight, like, you can clean up fights. You can hang on to a TP, and then like, let's say this tier 1 tower is up or something, the enemy just dives and like goes after your team. You have a TP, you TP in, you ult the Skywrath, and maybe you kill like 1 or 2 people. And then that's totally worth your movements. But you can't be there waiting for a fight to happen. You have to constantly moving, constantly farm. And the way you take fights is by TPing in and cleaning up and then going back to farming immediately. It's just smooth, seamless, like, rotations you have to do. That being said, 18-minute Battle Fury, you should have way more than 5 creeps a minute. You can probably, if you can afford to just hard farm for like 8 minutes, you can probably cross the 10 creeps a minute threshold. It shouldn't be the most difficult thing in the world. But like, even if you have to fight a little bit, you should still have way more than 5. Like, you can have 5 creeps a minute without a Battle Fury, let alone with a Battle Fury. Like, you just have to be doing things correctly. Fucking Glamour Capes, man. Such a stupid item. It's like Ice Frog just makes dumber and dumber items. It's so disheartening. Yeah, I think that about summarizes it. I'd say get the Vlads, because like I said, once you get the Battle Fury treads Vlads, it opens up your itemization. I don't know why you lost half your HP there before popping your BKB. You about to die again? You had Blink up. You should not have died there. I didn't see this last time. Just blink out of it. Like, you're such a good Juggernaut counter because, like, if you look at this, you have a huge magic damage hero, someone who likes to lock down melee carries because they can't move quickly, but you have a blink, so it doesn't count. You have her, whose frostbite only affects you until you have Manta, him with a silence, and him with no actual lockdown. Like, they literally have no stuns on their team. Like, there's not a single stun. There's an ensnare. That's what this is. It's technically an ensnare. It's not even a real stun. So once you have the Manta, this game should be completely over. And, like, honestly, if it went 20 minutes past your Battle Fury, that's a game that's completely on you. Anyway, I think we beat that point to death. So, yeah, to summarize, you gotta improve your laning mechanics. You can practice that in bot games and shit. Learn to creep aggro. I kind of went over that a little bit in the beginning. You can find more advanced guides online if you just look up, like, Dota creep aggro. This guy named chaq, C-H-A-Q. Here's something called an advanced guide to solo mid, and that covers creep aggroing. So that's something you might want to look into. Yeah, and then just farming efficiently when you can. Like, you had plenty of time in here where there wasn't a Viper, and like, the Viper's the bigger problem for you. So whenever that Viper wasn't there, you need to be hard creeping. So I think you could have gotten a lot more out of the laning phase, and you could have had a lot more up until your Battle Fury, and then after your Battle Fury, you just, like, you tried fighting too much, and you could have split farmed a lot more. Like, pubs can't handle split pushing, so if you just ratting super hard would have probably won this game. And then TPing back for fights. Like, you shouldn't be there until the fight's taking place in your base. Anyway, that about ends what we could talk about for this video. Hope it helps.